Blessings everyone, this is Chris Kendall from the rawadvantage.com, registered holistic nutritionist, raw food lifestyle coach, and raw chef. We're out here at the UK Fruit Festival and I'm here with Dr. Rick Dina. Today we're getting into the hot topic is, can a vegan diet be unhealthy? Let's get into it.
Baby, I like it raw. Raw Advantage likes it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Hey.
Alright guys, I'm super excited to have Dr. Rick Dina here. Thanks so much for doing this video with me, man.
Hey, my pleasure, Chris.
We've known each other for quite a while back in the raw food scene from different festivals and events.
Yep.
I'm a part of your raw food education program. Do you want to share a little bit about your history and your expertise in raw food and vegan nutrition?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I started making major changes to my diet back in my late teens in 1986. And even from just a few changes like brown rice instead of white rice, taking the skin off my chicken, ordering half the cheese on my pizza, basic things like that, adding some more fruits and vegetables in, I really started to notice a difference in how much better I felt. So from there, I just wanted to keep reading. And I came across whole food vegan diets, eventually learned more about raw food. And as I kept taking those steps, I just kept feeling better and better and better. And as I read more, it just made more and more sense and started putting more of the pieces of the puzzle together. So I've been raw vegan, and to qualify that, probably 90% of my calories have been raw since 1987.
Dang.
And it's fruit and vegetable based, a few nuts and seeds, not afraid of fruit, not afraid of vegetables, especially the raw cruciferous ones.
I love them too.
Not afraid of fat. I just try to have a balanced, rational diet that works well for me. And like Chris said, we have a whole curriculum that we teach that Chris is a part of this year. And my wife and I have just been nerding out for decades here because we love making sense out of this stuff in addition to how good we feel. And we've gained some expertise over the years, so professionally teaching as well as personally living this way.
Awesome, that's awesome. And in all that time, I mean, you've done a lot of blood work analysis, you've worked at fasting centers, you've seen like hundreds, if not probably thousands of vegans and vegetarians.
Thousands, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we add it all together, yes.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
With any type of diet, with any health, I mean, health is important stuff and we should take it seriously, and there are legitimate concerns.
Yeah.
And so, two comments here. Just like the whole world isn't divided into vegan versus non-vegan.
No, not at all.
So, I mean, we give examples where we talk about, look, let's just say somebody eats a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and they eat some steamed vegetables and some wild Alaskan salmon for dinner. Okay, they're non-vegan.
Yeah. And
then someone else eats vegan junk food.
Yeah.
So they've got some white flour muffin thing with high fructose corn syrup and genetically modified wheat flour, and then they spread their margarine on there, and then they have a sloppy joe and some powdered food mix. Just like the non-vegan would be so much healthier than the vegan in that case. So I'm not a big fan necessarily of these categories as though there's some rigid thing.
Black and white. Yeah, there's Oreos are vegan and some Pops are vegan and
right.
You can be an unhealthy vegan, that's for sure.
Yeah. So the thing is, can you be a healthy vegan? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris, you've how long now? 15 years
over 15
or so?
years. 15 years raw vegan and 15 and a half vegan.
All right, make sure I get that half in there.
Yeah, I gotta get that extra half. Every half counts.
So let's see, for me, it's been 32 years and 3 months. Got to get those 3 months.
Get those extra. The point, what is that? 0.25 maybe.
Yeah. So the point that's a long time, right? That's like almost 5 decades between the two of us.
Yeah.
And I feel really good.
Yeah.
I see a lot of other people my age who look a bit older. For whatever reasons, they act a bit older in terms of their overall health
and their mindset, maybe.
And I just, with anything, not just with diet, but I try to take a sensible, rational approach. I try to educate myself well, and if something's working, then great. If something isn't working, then let's figure out what to do to address it. And then that's what I do with my patients. So like they're on a raw vegan path or a vegan path, we check some basic lab work, sometimes some more specific advanced stuff depending on the situation. And if everything's looking good, that's good to know. You've got confidence in what you're doing. If there's something to address, well, we'll address it. We won't just say there's no such thing as B12 deficiency or nothing bad could happen if you're a vegan.
Yeah.
I mean, things do happen, and they need to
diet,
be addressed. Right, and if you're not a vegan, guess what? Things can happen. And like B12 deficiency, not just a vegan issue.
Yeah,
Vitamin
absolutely.
D deficiency, not just a vegan issue. DHA deficiency, not just a vegan issue.
Yeah.
So can those things happen when you're a vegan? Sure.
You got an awesome video on DHA that you recently filmed with John Kohler, right?
Yeah, we talked about that. And
Maybe I'll
I've
link
got
that in the show notes downstairs too.
All right, cool. Yeah, I've done a bunch on DHA. It's one of my favorite topics because I've tested lots of long-term raw food vegans to see their full fatty acid profile, including all their omega-3s, including DHA, and some of the rhetoric we hear about the body not converting well. There's a lot of truth to it depending on what you eat. But when you eat differently, some biochemical parameters are different, and omega-3 conversion can actually work better. And I've actually got a whole pile of case histories that I share in the curriculum that Chris saw recently. And
Absolutely.
So there's one issue, for example. If you don't convert well, despite your best efforts, despite getting rid of the processed food, the high omega-6 pro-inflammatory foods, okay, so now what do? Do you have to, eating fish is an option.
Yeah, it is.
It's got to be cold water fish.
Yeah.
But then what? Then your mercury contamination and dioxin and PCBs are the risks.
Yeah.
Well, what if you there are algae-based DHA supplements.
That's where the fish would get them from anyway, right?
That's correct. Now, that's out there in the polluted waters also.
Yeah.
However, it's lowest on the food chain. And every time you go up, the krill, then the little minnows, then the bigger fish, and then eventually the salmon, every time you go up the food chain, there's an exponential increase in environmental contamination.
Yeah.
So anyway, there are outside sources of DHA, and you can remain vegan if you want. But just because somebody is DHA deficient and they choose not to address it, and then their brain doesn't work well, and they are a vegan that indeed does deteriorate, that doesn't mean that because we have one or two, or even, the few case histories that are the exceptions, that doesn't mean every vegan is going to deteriorate.
No, absolutely
You and
not.
I, so far, aren't deteriorating.
No. I just got through
we're
a major
really
car
here.
accident and come back just as good as ever,
Yeah, I mean that, and then I'm sure you've shared your story on your channel.
Absolutely.
Chris's story and Camilla's story. I mean, they have made extraordinary recoveries.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your doctors always are like, well, you guys
They're
are ahead of
happy.
schedule, and everything's looking really good.
Yeah.
And so, perfect example. Unfortunate from your accident, but things happen for a
All in
reason.
its
You guys
place.
get to be excellent examples of healing and recovery.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I just gave DHA as one example of an issue that could come up that you can go off the vegan path to address, but then you've got some other issues to add on top of that. There are vegan options to handle that also. And I think pretty much across the board, B12D, getting enough calories, getting enough protein, overcoming all these myths like you can't eat raw cruciferous vegetables because they're bad for your thyroid, and all these other issues.
Lectins. Oh God, look out for
Right,
lectins.
that's right.
Definitely lectins.
That's we're in phase 2, what I call the great lectin scare now. Phase 1 was the late 90s with Dr. D'Adamo's blood type diet.
Oh yes.
And there's all these myths, all these hurdles, all this stuff in the way, unfortunately, of people really doing things properly and effectively. And it doesn't need to be that way. Some basic education, maybe some fine tuning, learning from people who have been on this path a bit longer, can really help out. And truly, if you want to do it well, you can succeed for a lifetime. And again, here's a couple examples. We're both pretty far in. I mean, essentially all of my adult life, I've been vegan. And I don't know, I'm not deteriorating.
Not deteriorating yet.
I do have glasses. I got those about 10 years into being vegan.
Yeah.
And you could argue it was the veganism.
Yeah.
Or you could argue, I got into my late 20s and, needed glasses to see a little further. And by the way, these glasses are half strength, 20-something years later of my original prescription. I've never gone up.
I've met a lot of people who've went vegan who have went down in prescriptions.
I've had that happen too.
Yeah.
Or I've heard that, heard that happen.
So would you say with your experience that, barring, say, personal kind of reasons or societal reasons or maybe some strange genetic abnormality, that there's not really that many reasons that someone nutritionally can't be a vegan.
Absolutely correct. I mean, there, like you brought up, there may be some specific gene that you don't have that produces an essential nutrient, which means you have more essential nutrients than the average person.
Yeah.
I mean, the hip thing these days, which is legitimate, is, the MTHFR, methyl tetrahydrate folate reductase, say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, no, I won't.
Variations, and for example, sometimes some people might be in the position where they have to take an activated form of a folate supplement instead of the regular one. Although, by the way, interestingly, I've worked with a number of people who have those variations, and a certain percentage of the folate that you consume is in that active form. Now, most people eating conventionally don't eat very much, so therefore not very much of that is the active form, so they may have to supplement. What I've found thus far is with not just any vegan, but with whole food vegans that eat a lot of leafy greens, especially and based on fruits and vegetables, the total quantity of folate so much higher that therefore the percentage of activated folate is sufficient enough that you don't need the special activated folate supplement from the outside. And you can test someone's homocysteine level to confirm if that is working properly.
So it comes back to eating whole, fresh, ripe, raw fruits and vegetables and simply cooked stuff, just real human food, real plant foods, right? Not fractionized processed stuff as the basis of one's diet.
Very true. So again, you want to be a healthy vegan, whole food one, not a junk food one.
Vegan.
And there's the MTHFR and folate is one example where whole foods make a difference compared to processed foods. And it's another example where somebody, I don't know, would this make them go off veganism? Probably not.
No.
But they might say, well, it didn't work because of this, or I have to take a special supplement because of that. Whereas there's other examples where people have said, like DHA, well, I couldn't be vegan anymore. I had to go to animal foods from the outside.
I've heard that with B12 too. I'm going to stop for 1 second. Oh, what? All right, my arm was pretty damn sore there. We're back. We're back. But, so is there anything else you want to kind of bring to wrap up this video and, sharing just on this topic of vegan deterioration,
You don't have to deteriorate as a vegan. It's not the norm. Some do, depending on their approach, just like anything else. If you want to be successful, study it, get informed, be rational, educate yourself, and do it well. Not all 50% of marriages end in divorce. Does that mean there's marriage deterioration? No, there's no such thing as a happy marriage. Not all businesses fail. Does that mean everybody has to stay poor for their whole life and no one can be an entrepreneur? So some vegans fail.
I've seen yogis hurt themselves. Does that mean yoga's bad and no one should be a yogi?
Right. So please, everyone, keep that in mind. And I'm happy with everybody's choices. I just, what gets to me is when people get kind of harsh with each other and nasty with each other, and
there's a lot of that on YouTube, guys. Be kind.
Please.
Be kind. We're all doing our best and trying to grow with the available knowledge and experience we have, and we're just coming from a place of a lot of knowledge and experience and trying to empower each other, right? Give out that good information and education.
Exactly. So if someone decides to do something else, no matter what the endeavor is, you don't need to connect to some misinformation and then bash what you used to do. That I just think that's uncalled for. And again, if you want to do something else, do something else. I mean, I eat mostly raw most of the time. Chris, you're never cooked at all, right? He's super committed.
I occasionally have frozen peas.
Okay.
Which are technically blanched, so that's
all right.
I say 99% of the time, or 100%.
And I'm 90%, right? So I'm a slacker compared to Chris.
Gosh,
but
you're not in this video anymore.
That's right. I'm out, man. I'll make some raw deterioration. I'll eat a little cooked.
That one.
Most of it's steamed vegetables, though. But occasionally, my wife and I go out to a restaurant. We might have something a bit more dense, a dessert or something. And the next day, instead of getting an A+ with extra credit, because we usually feel really good, we're at an A-, we're at a B+. And that's not bad. But it reminds us why we do what we normally do and
brings
stay
you back
raw.
to it.
So if you want to, hey, put some fish back into your diet, put some meat back into your diet. I mean, it's not all the same, right? It's just like just all vegans aren't the same. All omnivores aren't the same. If you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and like I said at the beginning, that cold water salmon here and there, you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing awesome.
Yeah.
And if you know, but then try maybe taking that out and replacing the calories with something else. See if you feel even better.
Absolutely.
I'm more than happy to have people experiment for themselves and be on their own path, and don't just take some adamant guru's word for something just because you don't want to think for yourself and you want to join some kind of cult.
Yeah.
Think for yourself, experiment, make sense out of things, see what works for you, and honor your path, because I honor your path also, as long as you're not nasty.
Yeah, don't be nasty.
Then I'm going to give a little pushback and say, hey man, come on, or hey ladies, let's be respectful towards each other. So,
absolutely. And if you want to go at the full vegan route, then get the education and utilize supplementation and see how that goes first. It's just giving yourself as many options as possible and checking all the boxes and seeing how you can get to the states of health and the places you want to be.
Yeah, and it's really well worth it when your brain is clear and your body feels good and your lab work looks good and you know you're on the path and your quality of life is really high and the research is pretty strong that your quantity of life will improve as well.
Yeah.
And if you're enjoying your life, why not stick around for a little bit longer?
Amen to that.
If you're not,
Amen to
then
that.
it's like the cigarettes and the alcohol and the other stuff's your best friend. And then, if someone like us is going to take that away from you, you get mad at us and you backlash. So
You got to do what you want.
So you
got
got to do what you want to do, and see what works for you, and just be educated, be rational, and reasonable about it. And we wish you all the best.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. All right. Well, thanks so much, Dr. Rick. I really appreciate you taking the time to go on this kind of hot topic. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And I've been studying nutrition for over 15 years. I really think that education is hugely important, and that's why I'm in your guys' course. I'm learning a ton, getting into the depth of current science and way more well-rounded nutritional information than anywhere else I've really found. So I really recommend you guys check out their course. It's really awesome, and thank you again so much.
Yeah, and thank you, Chris. And like when people like Chris have been on this path a long time and they join us, we're always honored. And Chris is rational and sensible, and we're the same way. We are lifetime learners. We're committed to that. We're always, my wife's favorite website, not joking, is pubmed.com. We're always into the research. We go to functional medicine seminars. We love learning about new types of testing. We still have a long way to go in our journey. We're lifetime learners. So again,
new stuff's always coming out, right?
Totally.
It doesn't ever stop.
And even there's a lot of old stuff out there that we want to get more into depth about. And so we would encourage all of you, like we were saying, as you're trying different things out, keep educating yourself. And it's fun.
Absolutely.
Life can be a new adventure that way. And
Absolutely.
it's really cool. So thank you, Chris, for the good plug.
Absolute pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have people join us who want to keep on the path, want to keep learning, want to keep refining. And, in this case, it's just something so positive. It's so life enhancing.
Hugely.
And when people all the time tell us about they're off of their high blood pressure medication now, and they're off of their diabetes medication, and they're not having the side effects, and they're feeling so much better, and they have a new lease on life, and they're keeping up with their grandkids now, and they're going to be around to they feel better, they're more clear, they'll be around to see their grandkids get married, and all that stuff is just so life enhancing.
Absolutely.
So and that's, I think, what keeps people like Chris and I in this movement, both for ourselves and what we see at places like the UK Fruit Festival, just person after person who's happy, who's enjoying this, who's transformed their lives.
The opposite of vegan deterioration. It's like vegan enhancement.
It really is.
Yeah, that's
really
what we see
is.
again and again.
And events like this show you that. You meet these people. It's a celebration of it. So it's just awesome. And so, but again, that's our perspective. Don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself, but do it properly.
Yeah.
Then you give yourself the opportunity to really see what the benefits are. And then you can know for yourself.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys liked this video, hit like, share it. Check out Dr. Rick. We'll have much more information below. Is there anywhere where we can find you best?
So you can go to rawfoodeducation.com And we've got a bunch of information there about our curriculum that Chris was just mentioning. The Mastering Raw Food Nutrition tab is there. If you scroll down, there's a lot of information about our curriculum. We do a few webinars every summer, and then once those webinars are over, we post the videos on that page. So there's 9 or 10 of them.
There's a lot of good information there.
And just to give you all a tip, each of them has some information about us at the beginning, and then information about the course at the end.
Okay.
And so all the, for example, 2018 webinars have the same beginning and end, but the different years, right, but different middles. But then the 2019 beginning and ends are different than the 2018s.
Okay.
But yes, the middle of all of them is different sample teaching material. So people who are thinking about joining us can get an idea of how we teach. And if you don't want to take a high-end, long-term commitment, rather expensive course, it's a great value, but it's not free. Watching those middle sections is some solid education for you. So
awesome, love it. Keep learning, guys. Enjoy, grow with raw food, veganism, plant-based foods, all this good stuff. Enjoy more of the stuff you love, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, life's good that way.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Dr. Rick.
My pleasure.
See you guys in the next video. Wishing you much peace, love, and seasonal fruit.
Can you be an healthy vegan? You don't need to deteriorate, guys.
Ooh, don't forget to check out the Raw Recipes playlist in the top left, the video just for you in the top right, subscribe for more videos in the bottom right, and get your 3 free ebooks in the bottom left. Grab my free iPhone app. Comes with 50 free recipes, common fruit and vegetable calorie breakdown, a food combining chart, shopping cart function, and much, much